that would say, in general, well, I'd say most, 99% of the time, it's going to resolve later in the measure. But on the point where the cadence chord sounds, then you have a non-harmonic tone. So that's the basic, crucial aspect of delayed cadence. So what I want you to do is to look at the first homework example that is on the web page. And there's a little piece there on the first page of it that is by Grieg. And so that is a little piece called Arietta, so it's a little song. And I want you to look at the cadence at the end of the first phrase. So just that first cadence, downbeat measure 4. And I want you to tell me, is that an example of a shifted cadence, or is it an example of a delayed cadence? Or you can have a cadence that is both shifted and delayed. So these terms are not mutually exclusive. So you could have a cadence that's located on the third beat of a phrase that's in 4/4 time, that at the point where that cadence chord sounds, it has a non-harmonic tone sounding in an upper voice that then might resolve on the fourth beat or something. But at any rate, you can have a situation where both of those would be applicable. So I want you to look at that, and then we'll talk about that in the future. All right, I'm going to keep going through these other types. So the third type that's listed here in the text is elided cadence. And so an elided cadence is a cadence in which the cadence chord is elided with the following phrase. So this is a type of intermediate cadence, so it's not something you'll have at the end of the piece, of course. But elided means overlapped. So overlaps the beginning of the next phrase. So look at the examples in the textbook for that. All right, then the next type is called extended cadence. And an extended cadence is just one in which the cadence chord is extended by either time notes or repetition. You keep repeating the same, harmony, that same cadence chord harmony, or maybe arpeggiation. However, it's going to be extended more than one measure. So that'll be our criterion for that is cadence chord. And I just might mention, in giving the definitions of these on this quiz, be sure that you use the term cadence chord, because these so much have to do with characteristics that occur at the point the cadence chord sounds. So the cadence chord is extended beyond one measure in length. All right? All right, the next is called the implied cadence and that's a situation in which the cadence chord sounds, but it's missing the root. So don't say bass, but it's missing the root of the cadence chord. And this little example, this Mendelssohn Songs Without Words that is given, the cadence chord is implied on the downbeat of the second measure there, measure 21. But the root of that, which is a 5-1 key of G, that it doesn't occur until the third or eighth note. And so that's something too that just has a single tone there on the downbeat again, but that's enough. Hearing that in the bass line, it implies that the chord is changed and is a type of imperfect, authentic cadence. But basically, that is your terminology for implied. The root of the cadence chord is missing. All right. And then the last type here is that evaded cadence, and this has to do with a phrase that is extended, and in that extension, it sounds like it could have cadence in the key that phrase is, located within, but it extends the end of the phrase, and then it modulates, and it cadences on an unexpected key. So you see a little example from the first Beethoven piano sonata in the trio section at the end of that first part, and it begins in the key of F major, but then the last two measures, instead of cadencing on F major, then it modulates and cadences on C major on the dominant, and that's an example of an evaded cadence. So I'll ask you to be able to define these 6 different types of exceptional cadences. And so what we will be talking about next are the combinations then of phrases and the types of terms that describe that situation.